G'day, and welcome back to Torment Thursdays. We're in the city again now, and we actually did the fight with Koro, and we kicked serious butt, and then we had a chat with a charming little urchin in the market, and so now it's time to look around and I think go and talk to the circus. I am deliberately skipping talking to many of these people, mostly because we saw them the last run through and I don't think they are likely to have changed too much, and I think I just want to most focus on looking at the major content here. So we'll talk to look, it's one of the Death Cheater's vessels. Ah, can it be? What fortune, what joy. Casmin will want to see you, vessel, and Minion too. Okay, so we're in the Circus Minor with the Changing Gods, Cult of the Changing God, which in true Baldur's Gate tradition is not particularly large. What does that say? Huh, interesting. Something related to death. I don't remember that from last time, but I also could equally just have missed it last time. So this is the clock we're going to be dealing with. So let's go talk to Minion and Casmin. As you approach the duo, you see that they're arguing heatedly but quietly. The petite woman turns toward you. Her hair is unusual, a light, almost yellow color, and her bright eyes dominate her pretty face. Excuse me, milady. My friend and I were just having a discussion, and her eyes fall upon your tattoo, and her breath catches audibly in her throat. Her partner is an unnaturally tall man, gaunt and sour-faced, his voice sonorous, with fingers that twitch and weave through strange contortions. Occasional light sparks the air as he does. He turns to you and opens his mouth to speak, registers your tattoo and closes it again. His throat bows for a moment, and then he says, "It is an honor." Minion collects himself. If I might impose upon your time for a moment, will you tell me about your tattoo? How did you shape it? Do you know why it differs from the others? What do you mean, shape it? Don't tattoos stay the same? Not yours, revered one. Her voice is a barest whisper as she curtsies. You're a cast-off of the Changing God, light of brilliance. His touch is on your head. The tattoo marks you as his child. She gazes at you enrapt. You are not alone. Other cast-offs live, and we treasure each of you. You are welcome here, revered one. We stand ready to serve as we can. Have you any questions for us? What can you tell me about my, sire? You mean the most accomplished inventor of our time, the hero of Sega's Cliffs, the man who dodged death itself, the Time Weaver, the man who destroyed the Tabat? Oh, we have so much to say. She catches up, but maybe we should wait for another time. Who are you? Minion considers your words before answering. A thoughtful pause. I am Minion, as I am one of the leaders of the Cult of the Changing God in Sega's Cliffs. My primary duty is as Chief Archivist. My colleague here is Casmin. She is responsible for the day-to-day administration of our encampment. Do you know anything about the sorrow? Casmin shudders and touches herself ritually on the forehead and her lips. A monster of deepest nightmare. I've heard that once you're dead, every one of the Holy One's creations, all dead. I don't know why, but it hates you. So let's go with, what can you tell me about the city? Minion says, the city your sire built and defended, the cradle of civilization, the center of the empire of knowledge. His eyebrows raise and his slow tone is effusive. It is amongst the great works of humanity in the Ninth World. Built on the foundations laid by unknown creators, it has risen to become one of the preeminent cities on Garavia Sound. He pauses. It's somewhat diminished in these latter years, to be sure. Perhaps if the Changing God would return to lead us all to glory. Yeah, that sounds like a thing that could totally happen. Can you tell me anything else about the Tsar? Minion nods somberly, raising a finger to his forehead. only that it is remorseless, pitiless, and wants nothing more than the destruction of you and all those who, like you, were created by your sire. Anything more about the city? Many thousand souls called Sega's Cliff their home. They came here for safety and for succor, and the changing god protected them. Now you can visit the spires of the government square where it once sat, or the places where his machines once shifted the city out of time. Your sire even faced the bloom when he was here. She represses a shiver, but you should avoid it for all costs. There's much to do in the city if you want to walk in your sire's footsteps. Let's go with... I have nothing more to say. Farewell. Wait, revered one. He appears at you, all traces of distraction gone. I do not recognize you. You do not match any of the descriptions we have recorded. Casmine snaps her fingers as if finally figuring out a mystery. Wait, let me see your face. She studies you carefully. Oh my, you're new. Are you the changing god? Can it be? She reaches out to touch her sleeve and pulls it back quickly. No, I'm not the changing god. Minion nods, satisfied. As I thought, you're a cast-off, one of his children. He touches you with his long-fingered hand as if in consolation. There is no shame in such a thing. Many cast-offs have come to our attention, and some of them have sought to deceive us so they might seem more important. He smiles softly. If you're as new as we suspect, it is better for you, for us, to know the truth of your existence than to bluster and lie. Plus, I got no intellect pool, so I can't bluff very well. Casmine is crestfallen. She touches your shoulder. Are you sure you're not? She catches herself. No, why would you lie about that? With a noticeable effort, she wrenches herself into optimism and she chirps. But you're new, aren't you? You're new. Have you decided what you'll do? What you'll be? Your sire's other children have done amazing things. Amazing. And no doubt you will as well. Minion lays a hand on her shoulder, and his voice is low, cautionary. Cass. She looks away from you for a moment, swallowing sudden tears, and he says, We have a request for you. Minion gestures towards the clock behind him. Dark figures circumambulate these clock faces. I theorize that your sire's creation of the time shields protected this city established a connection with his future selves. Given this, we believe those figures may be cast-offs, or ghosts of cast-offs perhaps, the living shells of the body your creator has worn previously. His fingers shrug eloquently for him. The clock is unmoored in time, you see. We do not have a knowledge sufficient to investigate, but you might. You have a connection with he who created the clock. You should be able to align it with the present time, and uncover who those figures are. A gentle, rare smile appears. If you cannot, at least you will increase our store of knowledge. Casmine smiles bravely, looking between Minion and you, and then we can answer the questions you must have. Right, Mim? Do you have any idea how to fix it? We have tried. I have appealed to the Order of Truth. I have spoken with eminent seekers of knowledge. We have sent for wisdom from as far as the Steadfast. A great achievement, you must agree. None have given us an answer. We believe your sire created the device, or had a hand in it. Perhaps, dismay dances across his fingers. Casmine steps in. Perhaps you can find an answer where others have failed, and then we can help you. You'll have our boundless gratitude, revered one. And for now, best of luck. Okay, so this is the puzzle we did last time. So here we are interacting with each of these, and the idea is to try to get the right time associated with the right thing. So this structure is embedded in the ground. It was clearly not made by the same people who built Circus Minor. It looks as though the device extends deeper into the ground, below the road. Weathered runes are spread across the device's surface. Oh. Could have sworn it was here. Yeah, and there's that one. And there's this one. Do I have to start with a particular one? Alright, let's look at the clock first. We should probably talk to some of the people whose names I don't recognize. This complex machine towers over you. Its purpose is unclear, but the three circular faces set into the ground remind you of clocks. Something's wrong with the machine, however. It's partially transparent and shimmering in the air when you look directly at it. The clock faces seem to show several different times at once. Humanoid silhouettes ripple beneath the clock face. One places his hand against the face as though it were a glass wall. They seem to be watching you. Examine the machine. The towering mechanism waves in the air. Similar to Keller stage, it appears to be in several states at once, though all the machine states are in the exact same location. You can't touch it either. Your hand passes right through the structure. As you pull your hand away, a memory strikes you powerfully, as if someone took a club to your chest. You're working at the clock. It's no longer transparent, but perfectly solid. There's a noise behind you. So they've come, the three traitors. They think to surprise you, but through the power of the clock you've foreseen this moment. There's the faintest sound of metal sliding against leather. You slap a hand on the central clock face, activating the clock's arcane powers. You're not sure it will do to them, but it's better than what they'll do to you. There's a flash. Arcs of energy stretch out from the clock over your shoulders to your would-be attackers. You don't see what happens to them, but they quickly disappear along with their screams. As the last shreds of memory fade, a swirl of energy passes through your body. Cold barbs prick every muscle. Suddenly, tidal forces arc from the clock to three ancient devices in the cultist encampment. The clock recognized something inside of you, or maybe vice versa. Either way, you've inadvertently activated the nearby devices. Alright, order of operations. So, next step is to actually look at these. Also, if I go to journal, which will be J, we can actually see this. Cool. So this is as part of the Resonance Chamber quest line. Well, that's a sub quest. So yeah, it's still all part of the main quest because we haven't picked up any side quests. As you approach this device, circus miners thrown into chaos. Buildings are on fire, people are screaming, running for their lives while armored soldiers hunt them. None of them seem to pay any attention to you, though. It's some kind of vision, not reality. You glance down at the device. A series of images flit across its surface. They don't appear to be related to the changes around you. You see the faces of other people and places, all of them familiar. Look more carefully at the changes around you. Circus miners under attack. Squads of armored soldiers roam the streets, hunting and killing anyone they find. Mobs of people flee in terror, with only a few hapless souls trying and failing to fight them off. The soldiers are completely encased in jagged metal armor. You can't even tell if they're human. Looking beyond the carnage, the square in this vision looks wildly different. Many of the buildings that are on fire don't exist at all when you step away from the device, having been replaced by other structures. Okay, so examine the images on the surface of the device. As soon as you focus on them, you feel a warmth on your head where your tattoo is. There's something about the images that respond to your thoughts, slowing and changing at your whim. You see, there's something about your body that allows you to do this, which means perhaps that only you can even see the images. And you immediately see the pictures as pieces of memory, specifically the three memories you saw back in the fathoms of your mind. Look at the memory of the city under siege. Somehow you know this memory is ancient. It must have occurred maybe 1,000 years ago. A man and young girl race through the streets of the Sagas cliffs. All around them the city is attacked by terrible people. The Tabat, you recall. A man takes them to an ancient machine somewhere in the city, then he and the girl disappear. As you review the memory, you get a strange feeling in your mind you can only describe as a query. The device wants something from you. Suddenly you remember the memories displayed in the device are possibilities, but you can lock one of the memories here, so it's the only one that displays. You don't remember what purpose that served, though. Let's lock the besieged city to this one. The image of the man and the girl are the only ones that play across the surface of this device. They run past the enemy soldiers and then disappear at the machine in an endless loop. So, yeah, that seems good. Okay, now let's go along. Let's use this one. As you approach this device, circus minor changes around you. People are dressed differently and speak differently. Whole new structures appear, including an enormous building rising from the edge of the square. You look down at the device and see a series of images flit across its surface. They don't appear related to the changes around you. You see the faces of other people and places, all of them familiar. Let's look at the memory of the underwater city. This memory is recent. Two men with tattoos like your own are in an underwater city searching for something. The denizens of the city chase them from their quarry and ultimately surround them and capture them. Let's look at the lush valley. Somehow you know this memory is from a long time ago, centuries ago, probably. A man and a woman, both with tattoos like your own, are surveying a lush, secluded valley for some purpose you cannot recall. Let's check. See, that sounds like it's even older than the City Under Siege, but I assumed the City Under Siege was this one. Okay. A strange feeling comes over you as you approach this device, as if someone was sneaking up on you in the corner of your eye. When you look, no one's there. It feels like something's different, though, but you can't put your finger on what. So this one is definitely the recent memory. So we locked that one. Images of the two men in the underwater city are now the only images that play on the surface. They search for something, are chased and then captured over and over again in an endless loop. Look more closely at the changes. Change is difficult to notice at first, but after a moment you figure it out. Circus mine is the same, but the crowd is different. Most of the people in the stalls and buildings are not the same as you've seen around the square. The few you do recognize are younger by several years. Okay. So, this one, let's look more closely at these changes. Circus Miner looks almost completely different. All the people are dressed strangely, and though they speak the truth, which is the common language of the region, they use many terms and phrases that you don't understand. The square's changed as well. All of the tents are gone. The buildings are more colourful and less weathered. One building in particular rises from the square, a tower of purple rock some 50 stories high. A mural is painted on the side, though you can't see the details. So, I think maybe the centuries-old memory. Okay, as soon as you lock the third image, a final surge of energy arcs through the air from the device to the clock itself. The clock shines for a moment, then becomes solid, fixed into a single state. At the same time, the device in front of you goes dark. The images disappear, as does the strange view of the city's past. Okay, so maybe if I knew more about the city's history, that would have made a little bit more sense. Because the naive view would be, city is very different. City goes under siege and there's fires and a bunch of buildings burn down. City is more recent. But instead it was under siege, so thousands, centuries, a few years. Okay, so now you'll interact with the clock again. The machine is solid now. Each of the 3 clock faces shows a single time, though none of them point to any time measurement you understand. You lean closer to the central clock face. 3 shadowy figures still lurk within, their features almost discernible now. Suddenly the figures surge out of the clock towards you. Intense pressure strikes your head like a steel spike, then everything goes black. And here we have new content. Because last time, this was just like, and here's a description of what we will eventually put in this place. Just placeholder text, and you got to pick a descriptor. Now we actually get something. I like this. The impossible stairway. Ever descending or ever ascending. Kamos, Jivaku, and Villain. The 3 figures before you are disoriented. They don't even seem to notice you at first. All 3 of them have a tattoo like yours. Cast-offs. Wafafellas. The woman is dressed in powerful-looking armor. Her face bears several scars, yet her eyes have the innocence of a child. Did he do something? Are we still in the clock? I don't believe so. The second figure is tall, dressed all in black. Its height is exaggerated by a violet fish-like crest on the top of its head. Its large yellow eyes are squinted, scanning all around. There was a woman outside the clock, but it wasn't. It was her. The figure points at you. He is small, wiry, and crouched as though expecting danger. He carries a shield at his side. She's a cast-off, she says, looking at your tattoo. Can't say I recognize her, though. Who are you? The woman steps forward. We beg your forgiveness, friend, sister. We've been through quite the trial. I'm Camus. These are my friends, Divyak, Tiku, and Villain. We are cast-offs like you. She looks up to you, her brow slightly furrowed despite her kind demeanor. We were ingested into your head. I saw it. How is that possible? Who are you? I'm a cast-off like you. I'm the latest one. The latest. She raises one eyebrow significantly higher than you. That's not possible. We faced the changing god mere days ago. You are not the body he wore. I think we might have been trapped in that clock for centuries, Camus. Something is about to mess with our perception. The Vigellan looks up at the ceiling, or the ceiling where the ceiling would be if there was one. Time is an illusion. How long is it? The wrong question. It turns its enormous bulbous eyes to you. What is this place? Where are we? Construct of my mind, I think. The Vigellan shuts its eyes. 6 nostrils flare open wide as it inhales deeply. Yes, perhaps you're right. Our consciousness were ripped from our bodies when the changing god activated his clock. When you appeared, it happened again. Our minds ripped from their chronal prison. It looks to its friends. I cannot be certain, but I believe this is part of some vast mental construct. He turns to you. Your mental construct. Villain's eyes nearly became as large as Vigellan's. What do you mean? You mean we just went from one prison to another? He grips you by the shoulders. You did this. If this is your mind, then let us out. Why did the changing god trap you in the clock? Ah, yes. She looks down, embarrassed. The 3 of us worked alongside us, helping him research after he brought the Order of Truth to Seeger's Cliffs. We saw him for what he was. Selfish, arrogant. He doesn't care about us, not a single one of his children. I realize voices are not working very well. Sorry. He crosses his arms and looks away bitterly. All of his projects are about him. He didn't care if anyone else got hurt in the process. We betrayed him. Unlike the others, Vigellan looks you directly in the eye. We meant to stun him, to capture him before he could escape to another body, but he was too quick for us. He activated the clock, tearing our bodies from our minds and trapping us eternally. I don't know how to get out of here. Relax, friend, sister. Whether for days or centuries, we've survived that clock. We will survive this. If time is an illusion, then it's not our enemy. We'll find a way. Why can't you get us out of here? Weren't you listening? We were trapped in that clock for centuries. I'm looking for a way out, but if Divyak Tiku says your mind, then it's your show. So long as we live, there is hope. One of us will find a way. Let me look around. I'll be back. Don't give up hope, friend, sister. Some more silver. I think I'm mostly good at getting silver in that title thing. And gold, though. Okay, so look around is somewhat limited by the fact that there's nothing to look around at. So we can talk to Villain and see if he gives us something different. Well met, sister. Have you seen anything else? Don't see any way out. It's your mind. Only you have the power to change it. What I was trying to say is that this place was created for your body, or perhaps by your body. Our sire placed within each of us unique gifts and abilities. For example, I've never heard of another cast-off who could trap consciousness the way you have. She gives you a warm smile. He would not have created this space without also giving you a means with which to move through it. Think, what other gifts did our Creator bestow upon you? I built a path out of a deep fathom in my mind by recovering memories I had lost. Perhaps if there are any memories here to recover. Villain curses his lip and looks around. Maybe I don't know what memories look like, but I don't see anything. I chose an aspect of myself when I was born, deep in the heart of this labyrinth. Is that it? Divyak shakes his head. I can see of what you speak, it says, and you get a momentary impression that its eyes can see through you. This aspect describes you just as I am. Vargellan, a villain, is observant, and Chemose is foolish. I object to that description. He is not wrong, and you know it. At a wounded look, he raises his hands, blinking. It's the truth. Anyway, you've gotten us out of twice as much trouble as you get us into. These aspects are descriptors of who we are, but they are not us. That you chose your aspects is quite a lot, but I do not believe that is enough to set us free. I'm a fighter, a glaive. Camose's smile is wide and friendly. Of course you are. It is plain we are generic by look alone. See, that's just the type of thing you do. It was a path you chose, not something your Asai gave you. No means to freedom. I don't think I have the ability you're talking about. You must. She looks at her compatriots and back to you. We each have our gifts given to us by our Asai for a specific purpose. This purpose, of course, but a purpose nonetheless. She presses her hand to her chest. They say, for example, that, foolish though I may be, I have 9 magical gifts of speech. That's not something I chose nor learned, but it is who he made me to be. Villain rubs his hand up along the edge of his shield. I am a master of the defensive arts. Our sire learned them when he was in my body. Probably built my body to excel at it. I wouldn't call it a gift, but it's me, yeah. I am one with the shadows. I live in them, breathe them. This is not some esotery I discovered, but a unique ability my Asai chose me while he was in my body. Chemose places a kind hand on your shoulder. The gift is in you. Perhaps you've just forgotten. Asai wouldn't have made this place for you without granting you the power to get out. Focus. Find the answers inside yourself. Shut your eyes, search your memory for this ability they speak of. You rifle through your memories, past everything you actually remember to those memories you didn't create yourself. There must be a key or a door, anything that would help you escape this fathom of your mind. Just as you're about to give up, you find something, a cluster of sparks, nascent abilities deep within the core of your mind. You sense the abilities to speak eloquently, to use a shield with a master's skill, to lurk among the shadows as though they were home. None of these abilities seem particularly suited to creating a path out of this place, but as you sift through them, you know that you are trapped here not because it's some puzzle your sire left for you to solve, but because you are not yet whole. This is another part, the last part of deciding who you are. In completing yourself, you'll be able to open a path back to the calm of your mind. Temp, the focus selection window will appear here. So these are the focuses we can grab right now, which are from these people. So we're going to go with Master's Defense, because it's the most combat focused of them. So the impression I get is that we can change this if we gather more cast-offs to ourselves. That's it, you did it! Does this mean we can go back to the real world? I don't think so, villain, but it means we are free, finally. Thank you, friend. Go. We will follow. Okay, so it's still not complete, but it gives us a little bit more content. Here is Sorrow. And it attacks us as we leave. What does that even mean? Let's find out, and then we'll wrap up. I saw what happened. Are you alright? That thing almost killed you. Where did the fragment come from? That was the same thing that attacked you here before. A fragment of the sorrow stuck in your mind somehow. Hate to say it, but it looks like there's more than one of them. Sorrow must be gathering its strength, taking spaces in your mind to keep you from reaching your full potential. I don't know why it doesn't kill you. Maybe the fragments aren't that strong yet. Updated my journal. Return to Casmine and Minion. Got anything else? Ooh, I found the resonance chamber, but it's broken.
I don't see everything you do out there in the real world, but I definitely saw that. You have to find a way to fix it.
How did activating the clock in the real world open that other fathom? Who knows, it probably triggered something in your mind. Made a bridge you didn't have before. Maybe you did have the bridge once, but you lost it. Could other fathoms open like that? Maybe. You've already made a lot of changes to this place. At this point, nothing would surprise me. What can you tell me about these new abilities I gained? His sire was a man of many talents. You're probably picking up residual memories of what he could do and building on those. He strokes his chin. I imagine you could change which abilities you tune to. It'll probably get harder every time you try. Your body gets more set in its ways, you see. How do other fathoms open again? No idea. Yeah. Okay. How do I get back this time? Portal's still here. Don't see why it wouldn't work twice. Is there anything to do while I'm here? You mean, apart from cavalry acts, distilleries, and endless adventures, just behind the next wrinkle in your mind? He jabs you in the arm with his elbow. Ha! And if you believe that, sorry, but it's your mind. There's nothing like here. Like that here. I've looked. Has anything changed since the last time I was here? Look around. It's your mind. I think I'm ready to go. Goodbye. Good luck. Whoop, whoop. Okay, so yeah, right. And then there's these. So was this bit the new bit? I guess it was. Oh, and that's the way back. Portals collapse into a tiny pulsing sphere. Something about it strikes you as angry. You'd be hard pressed to describe why. View from this window would describe that. Would inspire an author to pen his greatest masterpiece. Unfortunately, the window is boarded up. What? Okay. The sorrow shattered the mirror leading back to the dark fathom. Glass shards hiss at you when you touch them, so potentially that's repairable? It's an interestingly different look. Alright. And now we're back. So next time we'll keep exploring. Maybe we'll go to that mausoleum. We'll try and wrap up what we can of Circus Minor. Until then, have a great week. We'll also level up next time.